the wind is heavy with silence, a silence that feels alive, like the moment before lightning strikes. In the distance, the footsteps of a man echo across the stones of an ancient road. He walks not as a king surrounded by guards, but as a teacher walking toward his fate. They call him the Chosen. But now, even those closest to him begin to ask, chosen for what? For glory? For suffering? Or for something far beyond what any of them could understand? The sun sinks behind the hills, turning the sky into fire. The air feels thick, almost sacred, as if the world itself is holding its breath. In the quiet streets of Jerusalem, the people wait. Some whisper about the man who healed the blind, the man who raised the dead. Others turn their faces away, afraid to speak his name. Soldiers stand at the corners, their armor catching the dying light, their eyes sharp with suspicion. Something is coming. Everyone can feel it. He walks slowly, his eyes soft but strong. The crowd parts, not out of fear, but out of something deeper. Reverence mixed with confusion. Children reach out to touch his robe, and he smiles. Not the smile of victory, but of peace. A peace that feels strange in such a restless place. In the distance, thunder rolls, not from the sky, but from hearts trembling with questions. The disciples follow behind him, each lost in thought. Peter's hands shake as he walks. He remembers the waves that once rose around him, and how one word from his master calmed the sea. But now, the storm is not outside, it's within. Mary watches from the edge of the crowd. Her eyes are full of memories of laughter, of miracles, of hope. But tonight, hope feels fragile. She senses that the road they walk is not leading to triumph, but to something much darker. Still, she follows the people murmur as he passes. Some cry out for healing. Others whisper accusations. The city buzzes with rumors. Is he the Messiah? Will he rise against Rome? Can this man truly be from God? But he says nothing. Not a word. Only a glance that feels like light cutting through darkness. He looks not at the crowd, but through them, as if seeing every hidden fear, every secret pain. And for a moment, time stands still. The wind picks up. Dust rises. The candles in the windows flicker. And in that trembling light, one thing becomes clear. This is not just another man walking through the streets. This is the calm before creation changes forever. The silence is not empty. It's waiting. Waiting for a heartbeat that will shake heaven and earth. Waiting for a moment that will break history in two. Because what begins here will end on a hill, and what ends on that hill will never truly end. The night does not rest. Even the stars seem to hold their breath, watching a story older than time reach its turning point. Every step he takes now feels heavier, not because of fear, but because of purpose. The road to Jerusalem is no longer just a journey. It's destiny, carved in stone and written in prophecy. The disciples walk behind him, whispering to each other. They don't understand why he speaks of death while crowds still call him king. Why he talks about leaving when his mission feels unfinished? Peter, restless and fiery, tries to make sense of it. "Master," he says softly, "why speak of sorrow when the people believe in you?" But there is no answer, only a quiet look that holds both love and sorrow. The city ahead glows in the darkness. Thousands of lamps flickering like stars fall into earth. Pilgrims sing songs of praise, their voices echoing through narrow streets. It is the season of Passover, a time to remember freedom. Yet the man walking toward those gates carries chains no one else can see. He stops at the edge of the city. The wind stirs his cloak. His eyes, full of pain and promise, scan the horizon. Every sound, every shadow seems to speak. The rustling palm leaves, the distant cries of merchants, the faint clang of Roman swords. All of it feels alive, like the world itself is holding its breath before the storm breaks. For those who follow him, this road is confusing. They wanted a kingdom, one built on power and victory. But his kingdom is different. It has no throne, no army, no gold. It is built on forgiveness, on love that asks for nothing in return. A love so deep, It walks willingly toward suffering. Behind him, Matthew writes quietly, his hands trembling as he tries to capture each word. He senses that what he records tonight will be remembered for centuries. John watches, not with fear, but with awe. He sees light even in the shadows. Thomas looks uncertain, torn between faith and reason. Yet none of them turn back. Not one. As they enter the city, the people cheer, waving branches and shouting his name. The noise fills the streets. Hosanna! Hosanna! The disciples feel hope rising again, like maybe everything will be all right. Maybe the darkness will pass, but he knows what they do not. He knows that joy and pain often walk the same path, that every cheer will soon become a shout of anger, that every friend's promise will soon tremble with doubt, and yet he walks on, because this is what he came for, not to be crowned, but to be crucified, not to rule from a palace, but from a cross. This is the final path, and though the world sees only tragedy ahead, heaven sees redemption waiting in the distance. The road is narrow, the night is long, but in every step there is love. Love that will not stop, love that will not fail, love that will not die. The faces tell the story before words ever can. Faces lined with dust, with doubt, with devotion. Each one holds a question that no one dares to speak aloud. Will my faith still stand when the light disappears? Peter walks ahead, his jaw tight, his heart heavy. He remembers the moment he swore to follow forever, the waves crashing, the hand that pulled him from the deep. But now, the sea inside him is rising again. He believes, but he is afraid of what believing might cost. His faith is not gone, just trembling. Mary Magdalene stands apart, her eyes following him in silence. Once lost, now found, but the fear of losing again haunts her. She has seen his power, his mercy. Yet tonight, she feels the weight of something she cannot name. Her hands shake as she holds a small oil jar, meant for worship, or for burial. Even she doesn't know which. Matthew, the tax collector turned disciple, writes every moment down. He doesn't understand everything, but his heart tells him it matters. Each word, each glance, each tear, a thread in a story only heaven can fully see. His ink smudges as he writes, parchment trembling in his hands. John walks quietly beside Jesus. He is young, but his eyes carry the calm of someone who has seen eternity in a single look. To him, love is no mystery. It's the air he breathes when he's near his teacher. He doesn't need all the answers because he's seen the truth in the way Jesus looks at people. That's enough. Judas stays behind, half in shadow. His face is unreadable, devotion and doubt tangled together. He tells himself he still believes, that his choices will somehow help the cause. But deep down, crack has already formed, a whisper that grows louder with every step. Maybe he's not who I thought he was. And then there's the crowd, faces from every corner of life. Fishermen, mothers, beggars, soldiers. Some follow out of love, others out of curiosity, and a few out of fear. Each one sees something different in him. A prophet, a healer, a threat, a promise. But none can truly see what's coming. The camera of the soul moves closer. We see their eyes, their trembling lips, the lines of exhaustion and faith carved into their skin. The disciples don't wear crowns or armor. They wear uncertainty, and still they walk forward. Because somewhere deep inside, they know even broken faith is still faith. And Jesus, his face holds it all. The sorrow of what must come, the peace of what it will bring, the love that does not bend even beneath the weight of the world. He looks at each of them, not with pity, but with understanding. He knows their fears. He knows their failures, and he will love them anyway, all the way to the end. Because faith was never about being fearless. It was about walking forward when fear says stop. And as the night deepens, those faces, those human trembling faces, become the reflection of every believer who will ever follow. The air is changing. It tastes of iron and storm. The light fades, not because the sun is gone, but because something unseen is rising. a shadow moves across the hearts of men. It does not roar, it whispers. It slips through the streets of Jerusalem like smoke unseen, yet everywhere. The disciples feel it but do not understand it. The laughter from earlier days has turned to uneasy silence. Every word feels heavy now, as if each breath costs something. Around them, the city is alive, merchants shouting, soldiers marching, prayers echoing through stone walls. But beneath it all, there is a heartbeat of dread. Something sacred is about to break. At the temple, whispers spread like fire. The priests speak his name with clenched jaws. He challenges the law. He calls himself the Son of God. He must be stopped. Fear wears many faces, and tonight, it wears the face of authority. In a quiet room, Judas sits alone. A single coin rolls across the table, catching the flicker of lamplight. His hands shake as he watches it spin, his mind drowning in thoughts he cannot silence. He tells himself it's for the mission, that maybe betrayal will force his teacher to act, to reveal his power. But deep down, Judas knows. The shadow has already claimed him. Jesus prays in silence, not for escape, not for safety, but for strength to carry what no one else can. His voice is low, his eyes lifted toward a sky that seems to weep. "Father," he whispers, "if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not my will, but yours." And heaven listens. The garden breathes around him, olive trees swaying, leaves rustling like quiet tears. The disciples, unable to bear the weight, fall asleep a few steps away. The Son of Man, alone in the darkness, carries the weight of every sin that will ever be. And still, he does not run then. Torches appear. Their glow cuts through the night like the eyes of wolves. The soldiers approach, armor glinting, voices sharp. Judas walks ahead of them. His face pale, his lips trembling. He greets his teacher with a kiss. A kiss, the cruelest symbol of love ever given. The moment shatters the silence. Swords are drawn. Hearts break. And the shadow, long and cold, finally stretches across the world. Peter swings his blade in fury, but Jesus stops him. "Put away your sword," he says, voice steady. It's filled with mercy, even for those who come to destroy him. Those who live by the sword will die by it. The soldiers bind his hands. The crowd watches. Some cry out. Others turn away. And as they lead him into the night, one truth becomes clear. The story is no longer about miracles. It's about sacrifice. The cross, still unseen, already casts its shadow over them all. It falls across the ground, the walls, their faces, their hearts, and in that shadow, love stands unshaken. Because what the world sees is defeat. Heaven calls victory. The night holds its breath. Even the wind seems afraid to move. Somewhere far off, a rooster cries, a lonely sound that cuts through the darkness like a memory too heavy to bear. The world does not yet know what is happening, but heaven does. Every star above burns brighter, as if refusing to look away. Every shadow below stretches longer, trying to swallow the light that still dares to stand. He stands before them, silent, bound, but unbroken. His face carries no anger, no fear, only truth. The guards see a man. The priests see a threat. But heaven sees the Lamb ready for the altar. The crowd gathers, faces twisted by confusion and doubt. The same voices that once shouted, "Hosanna," now cry, "Crucify him." The world turns fast when fear takes the throne. And as they shout, he listens. Not with bitterness, but with sorrow. Sorrow for the hearts that do not see. Pilate looks at him and asks, "What is truth?" The question hangs in the air, unanswered, because truth is standing right in front of him. And truth does not need to defend itself. Peter, hidden in the shadows, watches through tears. His chest aches with regret. He remembers his promise, "I will never deny you." But before the dawn, he has done it 3 times. When the rooster cries again, he breaks. The strongest of them all falls to his knees. And the night swallows his sobs. And yet even in betrayal, even in failure, mercy waits. Because that is who he is. He does not curse those who strike him. He does not run from the cross. He walks toward it. Willingly, each step echoes with eternity. The weight on his back is not just wood. It is every sin, every sorrow, every tear ever shed by humankind. And though his body bends beneath it, his spirit does not. He stumbles, but when he falls, he rises again. The soldiers mock him, pressing thorns into his brow. Blood mixes with dust. Yet even then, his eyes' tired, gentle, endless look upon them with compassion. He whispers to heaven, "Forgive them, Father. They know not what they do." The sky grows darker. The earth trembles, as if it feels what man does not. Creation itself groans, waiting for the moment it will all change. This is not just suffering. This is surrender, the kind of surrender that shakes the very foundations of time. He is not losing his life. He is giving it. Every heartbeat, every breath, a gift for those who don't even know they need saving. And as he lifts his eyes toward the heavens bruised, bleeding, yet full of peace, he speaks softly. Almost to the wind, the hour has come. The words do not echo. They resonate. Across centuries, across hearts, across every corner of creation, because in that hour, love itself chose to die so that life could begin again. The world goes quiet. Too quiet. The shouting has stopped. The nails have been driven. The cross stands against the gray sky still, like a question no one can answer. The storm has passed, but peace does not come. Only silence. A silence so heavy it feels alive, pressing down on every heart that dared to believe. The disciples hide in the shadows, their faith torn open. Peter sits alone, face buried in his hands. Every memory burns, the laughter, the miracles, the promises. He can still hear his voice. "Follow me." But now, all he can see is the cross. Mary kneels at the foot of that cross long after the crowd is gone. Her tears fall into the dust where his blood still marks the ground. She does not speak. She does not move. She simply stays, because sometimes love has no words left. The sun has fallen, and darkness feels endless. For the first time, heaven seems far away. The earth, still trembling from the weight of what happened, feels empty, like a heart that has forgotten how to beat. And yet, somewhere deep within that stillness, something stirs. A whisper, a pulse. The faintest rhythm of life pushing back against death. The fire of faith, once roaring, now flickers like a candle in the wind. But it has not gone out. Because even shattered belief can burn again. Even silence can carry a promise. Night stretches long. The tomb is sealed. The world turns without light, and the enemy smiles, thinking the story is over. But the author is not finished. The third day dawns. Slow, fragile, quiet. The sky blushes with the first light of morning. Mary walks to the tomb, her hands trembling around a jar of oil. She expects sorrow, but sorrow does not meet her there. The stone is gone. The grave is empty, and the silence that once screamed of death now hums with the sound of life. She freezes. Her heart races. The voice she thought she'd never hear again speaks softly behind her. Mary. One word. That's all it takes. Her tears turn to laughter. Her fear turns to fire. Faith, once broken, now blazes brighter than ever. Because this is what the cross was always leading to. Not an ending, but a beginning. Not defeat, but deliverance. Faith after the fire is stronger than before the flames. It no longer fears loss. It no longer doubts love. Because it has seen what love can do even in the tomb. The grave could not hold him. The darkness could not keep him. And the silence has now become a song light, pure and unbroken. It spills over the hills like a promise kept, washing away the shadows that once ruled the world. The stone that once sealed death now lies silent beside an empty tomb. And from that emptiness, eternity begins. He walks again, not as a ghost, not as a memory, but as the living heartbeat of heaven. The same hands that once broke bread now carry the proof of love carved in flesh. The same eyes that wept for the lost now shine with unending mercy. The disciples, once afraid, now rise with purpose. Their sorrow has become strength, their doubt a doorway to unshakable belief, because they have seen the impossible and they will never be the same. The world tried to end his story on a cross, but stories written by God do not end, they begin again, stronger, freer, forever. This is not just a tale of pain and victory. It is the story of love that refused to die. A love that stepped into darkness so that no one would ever have to walk there alone again. And that love still walks through every broken heart, every lost soul, every whispered prayer that begins with "help me," walks beside the weary, the forgotten, the unworthy, turning ashes into hope, fear into faith, because the chosen was never just about one man's journey. It was about all of us chosen to be seen, chosen to be forgiven, chosen to be loved. The cross was never the end. It was the doorway, the empty tomb, the proof. In the resurrection, the song that never stops singing, as the light grows, the voices rise, not in fear, but in faith. The world breathes again. The heavens echo with words that change everything. He is not here, for he has risen. And in that truth, everything finds its meaning. Every tear finds its reason. Every heart finds its home, because to step into the heart of the chosen is to walk straight into the arms of grace, a grace that never runs out, never gives up, and never lets go, fade to light. Soft instrumental swells. The screen glows with one final line: he was chosen, so we could be free.